All right, everybody, we're back with another episode of the What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Levi Casada, and I'm super excited again today to have my boy from North County. Please welcome Brandon Wood, my co-host.
Hey, what's up? What's happening?
Hey, what's up, buddy? What's going on this week?
So pumped to be here. It's been a busy week, flying by again like they all do.
You tell me that every day, though.
Every day.
Yeah. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But no, I get it.
But yeah, stoked to be here. Super happy.
Well, I'll give you a little shout out because you have been in the last month or so just, he's with New Venture Escrow. He's with us over here as a sales executive, or what do we call him?
Escrow business partner?
Business partner? Yeah. And are you 2 years in?
2 years in February, yeah.
Congratulations. 2 years has flown. Yeah. The transition's tough always, the leap of faith to come over to here. And I'm telling you what, you're catching your stride. And I hear it from everybody in the office and everything. So congratulations to all your success.
Appreciate it.
With saying that, you also bring on the best guests. I say this every podcast, but he really does. We do have a great time here.
We do, yeah.
All right. So let's introduce your guest today. She's a mother of 4. She's a lifeguard wife. She's a real estate broker with ENG Properties. And you might also have seen her on KUSI. So she's no stranger to the camera. This beautiful woman. Please welcome Katy Sullivan.
All right. Let's go.
That was quite the introduction.
Yeah, we gotta look at the audience is just going. Look at them.
Gotta tame them down back there.
I know. Take it easy. Back there, people. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. This is so fun.
Yeah.
What a fun way to spend my Thursday.
Oh, well, thank you. I know, we were talking about it out there, and it's been long overdue. We've talked about getting a year ago.
I know. I'm very excited to be here. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Busy schedules. The kids will do that to you.
They'll do that. They certainly will.
They will do that.
Coming up on spring break here. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, you've not had your spring break yet?
No, ours is the week following Easter. Yeah.
Are they in private school then?
They are. Yeah.
That's
They're
it.
over at Madeline. Yeah.
I remember being in private school when I was a kid, and it was always, you had it that Friday, and then after Easter you had a
so
week
half day today, no school tomorrow, then all week next week.
That was us last week. But it seems like it makes more sense having it following Good Friday, following Easter, and then having the week off.
I'm always confused why they aren't all the same, but...
Yeah, ours was a week before yours.
I feel like if they were all the same, everywhere would be so pumped. So crowded.
Yeah, because you were able to go to Disneyland for a little bit.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Did Disneyland for a day.
Nice.
Stayed up there, and then the hotel we stayed at had a water park in the courtyard. So the next morning woke up, kids had a blast in the water park. I think they liked that more than Disneyland.
We did the same thing one year, and I had the same feelings. Our kids were couldn't get them out of the pool and the water.
It was
slides.
A blast.
Well, speaking of Disneyland, you are a San Diego native.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I'm born and raised.
Born and raised. How many times you go to Disneyland when growing up here?
Sadly, it was our gift when we turned 5. So anytime one of my siblings turned 5, then we would go, but not a ton.
Yeah.
I think before 5, you don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my kids have been probably 3 times. Michael, and he's 11, so yeah, not a ton.
Not a ton.
That's more of a Nana Papa thing to
I
do.
think so. I actually saw a guy walking around with the Disney logo on his shirt, and it said "the most expensive day ever." It's that's a correct shirt.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a third generation San Diegan.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in paradise? Right, it's paradise here.
It is paradise here. Honestly, I know no different.
Right.
The only time I've ever lived away was when I went to college, was Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. So it was the next best thing.
So far away.
But I've never had a desire to live anywhere else. So I think that's sort of an indication of how much I enjoyed living here. And we grew up in junior lifeguards and lifeguarding. And so the beach was what we did all summer, whether it was our career or, whether we just went to visit.
Yeah.
It was just, that was our life. I know no different.
Yeah. You go to school, and then would you just hit the beach? That's
Yeah,
like right
pretty
after?
much. I mean, sports and whatnot, but summer that was what we did.
Yeah.
You know, it was South Mission every day or junior lifeguards, and then you would end up at South Mission or before or after. But it was the best.
Yeah.
Love summer.
Well, speaking of lifeguards,
Yes.
your husband is lifeguard. How did you guys meet?
We met lifeguarding.
Really?
Yeah. So there was a summer. So he's been a lifeguard he was a lifeguard a lot longer than me. But we met officially when we were both junior lifeguard instructors. So one summer we had a group of JG's kids. He had C's. They're like the youngest group, and I had C's. And I thought he was like super cute. So I was like, "Oh, do you want we can have our groups join together and do activities together."
Co-coach.
And he's not like a very structured person. So he was like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
to
you
help
do
me."
all the
Like,
work.
yeah. And he loved the water. I wasn't as much into getting in the water and getting cold. So he was big in the surfing part. I was big in the taking the kids on soft sand runs, and it's just fun
Perfect
summer.
combo.
God, that
Yeah.
worked out. What's the age gap? Are you guys?
We are 8 years apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. People don't think that. 'Cause
He was probably equally as excited that you asked to join forces.
yeah.
Well,
like, okay, let's do
I
this.
think so. I hope so.
So, kind of growing up, or like, that was after college.
Yeah. So I became a lifeguard when I was 18. I went through the academy and I met him then, but he was 26. So I felt like I always thought he was super cute, but that felt like so far apart to me. And then I went to college and we started dating my junior going into senior year. And then when I came back and graduated, just kind of hit it off and engaged a year later. And
How'd the
four
parents feel
kids.
about that age gap? Were they
Actually, I don't think they mind because my parents are 6 years apart. And I think for them, they wanted to see like stability and him established in a career, which lifeguarding has always been his life. So he became a permanent when we were engaged, maybe right before we were engaged, permanent lifeguard. Now he's 3. He's been at it for, 20 some odd years, plus years. I mean, literally he started lifeguarding at 16 at Camp Pendleton and then came down to the city of San Diego. And that's just been his career ever since.
So he's not at the point now where he's not in a tower hanging out at the beach.
No, he's actually, so he's a lifeguard 3 and his district right now is the boats. So BSU, boating safety unit. And so he'll either take the boats out, like rescue boats, or he'll do like the overnight shifts or dispatch. He'll sit in the dispatch towers and dispatch medics for any sort of emergency that's related to the beach.
Yeah, he's
Cliff
moved up.
rescues.
Yeah.
It's got to be exciting.
It is exciting. It's exciting because it's something new constantly.
That's what I'm saying. It's always changing. You don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
The days are always going to be different.
It's not just the beach. It's not just ocean lifeguarding. There's cliff rescues. There's the boats. There's overnight shifts. So it's a wild ride. He comes home with new stories every single day.
When you guys were dating though, when he was going in the water all the time, did you ever have like a fear for him? You know, it's almost like being a wife to a police officer or somebody that's on duty for stuff like that. Because, hey, I'm from Arizona, so I didn't respect the ocean until the ocean made me respect it.
Showed you respect me.
Yeah.
You know, oddly enough, he is kind of that comfort for me and that just comfort. Oops, did I press that?
That's okay. Yeah. Push that again.
Isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the tricky one.
I'm just, he impresses me as a lifeguard, and that's why I couldn't do it permanently, because he's so confident and so calm in emergencies, and that's translated to our life at home.
Yeah.
He just keeps the calm. So I've never been too concerned because he's always very slow and methodical and safe when he's out there making rescues.
I feel like doing it that long, you've got to be in that mindset. Same with the firefighters and the police, like you said. You've got to have that calm mentality in the state of an emergency.
Yeah, they teach you, this is not your emergency, and don't create 2 emergencies out of one.
That's
2 rescues. So like just slowing it down, doing, taking your time. And so, I've always been very, very confident and very comforted by the fact that I'm married to someone like that. So,
well, speaking of calm, it's good to have someone like that in the house of 4 kids.
Yes.
Tell me about that. So we were talking out there. I have 2. I stopped at 2, boy, girl. I was done.
I've got 3.
This gentleman over here
Tried stopping at 2.
Tried stopping at 2. I remember you were here when third was born.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. You took the leap and went 4.
I went 4.
Now, do you have a large? Do you come from a large family?
Yeah, so I am one of 4, and I've always loved. I love the chaos of our house, and I'm big on even numbers for whatever reason. So I always liked the idea of like 2 and 2. Growing up, it was like the olders and the youngers, and then so when we had Michael, that was just like such a pleasant experience. I'm like, why not? Let's go for it. 2 for 1 kind of deal. So we had Sarah shortly after, and it was very challenging at first, trying to feed one and entertain the other.
How far apart are they?
Those 2 are only 14, just under 15 months apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was wild, but then slowly but surely they were eating the same.
Yeah.
They had the same schedules. They were napping. They could play on the same soccer team. So their activities kind of morphed into a 2 for 1 kind of deal, which was great. And then we had Ryan almost exactly 2 years later. And that was fun. That was chaos. It was 3 and under. And so Michael was in preschool at the time, like 2 half days. And then Sarah and Ryan. And that year was it was a very challenging year for us. My husband lost his brother. Oh. And so it was a year of grief, but also having to wake up. And it was like the biggest blessing at the time. You have no choice.
I was going to say the distraction maybe.
Yeah.
When you're a mom of 3, you don't sleep in.
Yeah.
You have to change diapers. You have to get up. So it was
You said 3 under 3.
3 and under. So Michael had just turned 3, and then Sarah just turned 2. Actually, she was 1 and then turned 2 a week later. And then Ryan. So that was kind of like a crazy, chaotic year. But Ryan is he's my wild child. He's super athletic. He has 0 fear. So he really keeps things entertaining. And then I really just did not feel complete.
The odd number. I couldn't do the odd.
What would have messed you up though if you had another boy? Because you got 2 and 2, which is incredible too.
Because it went boy, girl.
Yeah, boy, girl. I totally thought Kate was going to be a boy.
Yeah.
In fact, I was so confident I didn't even look at the gender card, and I allowed my father-in-law to open it up in front of the family because I for sure thought it was a boy.
Well, then, your body knows, right? Like the way you're carrying.
Boy, I had the name and everything. I'm like, it's definitely not a girl. So when Kate was announced as the girl, I was like, oh my gosh. So no, I wouldn't have been thrown off because I actually thought, okay, if the youngest is a boy, then Sarah, my number 2, is going to be my only girl, and she's second child, so am I. So I had kind of a positive spin on any outcome.
She'd be the princess of the family, all the boys taking care of her.
Yes. And she is actually far from that. She's kind of like the dominant one in the family, and she rules. She rules the family. So yeah.
And so their ages now?
They're 11, 10, 8, and 5.
Yeah.
It took Matt convincing for number 4. That's why she came a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't going to Disneyland anytime soon because that bill alone, you gotta be selling a lot of homes.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
Come on, guys, let's get her to Disneyland.
What motivates me? Disneyland.
I love it. So not only you're a 3rd generation San Diegan, but in the real estate field as well, right?
Yes,
your family has been here, has built up a empire.
Yeah.
Coming out and you did a lifeguard thing. You went to college. Your degree was in business management.
Business management, yeah. At Cal Poly, you have to be declared, and honestly, I just didn't quite know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't want to be a lifeguard full time. I just didn't have that in me. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I've always loved hospitality, and I've always loved sales. So right out of college, I did a summer lifeguarding, but I worked in hospitality at the Grand Colonial Hotel.
Oh, cool.
Little boutique hotel in La Jolla, where I was like an executive meeting specialist and just helped different companies come in and plan their stay or conferences throughout the week. And then moved over to the Bahia Hotel with the Evans Hotels. They own the Bahia, the Catamaran, and the Lodge at Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
And was doing sort of the next thing there as a sales manager there. So basically tried to sell block of rooms to companies.
To big groups that are coming in. Yeah, conferences,
yeah.
Stuff like that. Weddings.
Yeah. In fact, I thought that I was going to gravitate towards the wedding side, the event planning, and quickly learned that that was not where I wanted to be. I worked one wedding and I was like, no, I'm good with CEOs. And it was.
And the bridezillas maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, mother of the bride.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was special.
Does the dad of the bride usually step back?
Yeah, you don't see much of him, at least not
just until he gets the bill.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, sir, we're gonna need a check from you before we leave. But yeah, learned very quickly that wasn't what I wanted to do. And when I got pregnant with Michael, I thought it was. And at the time, my dad. So my dad's been in real estate since we were kids.
Yeah.
And when the market took a turn in 2008, he kind of shifted gears and focused more on the property management aspect because that offered stability. And that slowly but surely grew into ENG Properties. Then he acquired Willen, and then Peter acquired OB Sands. But going back to the beginning, that ENG was slowly growing. It was literally just my dad and one other person at the time. There was probably a book of 200-300 doors that he was managing. And when I was pregnant with Michael, I thought this is a good opportunity to get my license, maybe help my dad out.
Yeah.
And that's really how it started. I started working in the property management side of it for maybe like 2 or 3 days a week. And my mom helped out with Michael, and Matt, he had kind of more of a flexible schedule with lifeguarding. And then that year, one of our tenants reached out expressing interest in purchasing. So that was my first transaction where I represented tenants in the purchase of their first home, and immediately was like, this is where I belong. I love working with people. I love to see people succeed. I love looking at homes.
Yeah.
So I kind of exited the property management phase, kind of jumped right into the real estate selling, acquisitions, exchanges. And that gave me a really flexible schedule to be at home with Michael full time. I mean, he would come with me to showings and whatnot, but that kind of took off.
And so what year was that then? Was that
2013?
13.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was born in 2013. Yeah.
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 I feel like kids help the sales.
I think so.
Right? You bring them a little baby Bjorn and they're just sitting there, and then
Yeah.
I think as families they can picture having a kid, in that house at that point.
Especially with my clients, a lot of my clients are friends. They're people who know me.
Yeah.
So there are certain times where it's absolutely not appropriate to bring a kid to a showing.
Right.
I'm like, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
But it also helped me with families that I was representing who were, bringing kids to these showings. It's a wild time, So
Yeah.
I started to create little scavenger hunts for the kids to do while we were at showings, because the mom and me kind of came out so mom and dad can look at the house to see if it's an appropriate fit for them. So the two jobs kind of really helped each other.
Yeah. Did your hospitality background with customer service, do you feel like that was a big part of helping you with dealing with all types of,
Huge
personalities?
I think that in every single one of my jobs or any career that I have, it has helped. You pull certain experiences from anything, even lifeguarding, and you apply that to sales. But definitely with hospitality, it's, a lot of times people just need to be heard.
Yes.
And you need to hold their hand, and you need to communicate in a way that's digestible. There's so much information out there with headlines and mortgage rates and economic factors and this and that. You just need to dumb it down. You need to simplify this process. Yeah. What are your goals? When do you want to reach them? Here's how you do it. And so I think hospitality, definitely just listening to the customer. What is it that you want? And holding their hand each step of the way. Because for me, I do this for a living, but most times this is a once, maybe 2-3 time deal in their life. They don't, they don't do this every day. So,
well, and like with lifeguarding, you got to bring the calm to that chaos,
Yes.
right? You got to calm the situation, make sure they all understand what's going on.
Totally. And it's different. Every transaction's different. So you pull something, every rescue, you learn something a little bit different. Maybe I should have approached it this way. Maybe I should have been a little bit more proactive here. Maybe I should have giving them a warning ahead of time. And, with transactions, you learn something new. Just recently working with another agent that I respect and looked up to, there are certain things that he did that I pulled. Oh, I like the way that he outlined this email, or how he made it very clear what these timelines were, and just different things that I can pull from each transaction that help only improve my my level of service.
Right. Yeah. Just how you carry yourself and how you interact with your customers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my fault. I knew your maiden name and you're Italian because I had your brother on this show, and you guys talk with your hands. I'll have to move that mic for you. I feel so bad.
I don't do it all the time.
And you're doing so good on trying to avoid that cord now. It's so funny to watch you now.
I have really tried to control myself. I've done a couple of news segments, and I watched the first one and I was like, oh, wow, I am Italian. It was if you watch it without the without hearing it, without audio, it's crazy. It's
like, what's she doing? She's dancing around.
It's so funny.
A new dance you came up with? Well, let's talk about that. That's incredible. So you go on, and I don't know anything about this, but KUSI, right?
Yes.
It's a news channel.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not from here, so like most locals will know more about it.
Local news channel.
And then, so the show that you... Are you hosting it, or are you just
get involved?
Yeah, how did you get involved in this?
No, so one of my friends she's actually another mom at the school. She's an executive producer over there, and she was watching my Instagram, and I was sharing some sort of information about the market, maybe like a market update or something along those lines. And she was like, "Hey, would you want to come in and do just kind of, San Diego market update?" I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, what?
I would have instantly got so nervous and like, really? Like, you want me to come on the news? And
I know. I kind of just had to. Well, then her coworker called me right away, and he was like, can you come on tomorrow at 6 a.m.? And I was like, oh, wait, okay.
Wait, you agreed to it?
Yes.
Then he called you.
I was like,
right away?
Absolutely. And he said, can you come on tomorrow at 6 a.m.?
Was it kind of like okay, absolutely, let me get my bearings like straight.
Like, oh, this is real.
Figure
This
like
is
a
really
month later.
Yeah, no, it was like, hey, can you come tomorrow? And I was like, the only thing is literally Matt was working an overnight shift, and I would have to leave the kids at home.
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay, come 2 days. Come in 2 days. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what should I talk about? Email me some notes about the market and we'll just have you on. And thankfully, my first interview was with Paul Rudy. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he does like the PPR, the Prep Pigskin Report, where he highlights high school sports. And I actually knew him from when I was in high school. He's so comfortable and comforting and fun, and they want to see you succeed. And it's a great way to share information, and information, like I said, that's digestible and people can kind of comprehend. And it's become fun for me. It's kind of, it's nerve-wracking. But now it's kind of more of a challenge. I'm like, okay, if I can make it through this without saying, that's going to be my goal this time. Or, share something that I'm passionate about at the time. or let's not use my hands as much. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been on like 8 or 9 times now. Yeah. So
I'm bummed. I don't have KUSI, so I don't get
neither
to watch
do I.
it.
Like my own family can't watch it. My mom has. Like,
where do you air it? Where does it air on that? If you
it's
don't
just
have
like
it?
the local news,
Okay.
Local news station. If you have cable, you have it. But I have like.
When I had DirecTV or AT&T, one of the two, I had it.
Yeah.
Because it was my favorite news channel. I'd always watch KUSI.
Yeah, they're great.
And then we went to YouTube TV. No KUSI.
Same. So
Haters.
they send me the segment, so I'm able to like share it.
Did you get a bunch of people reaching out that you haven't heard from in a while? Like, hey, Katy, I saw you.
Yeah,
on KUSI.
actually, In fact, this last time I had 2 people send me an email because they didn't have my contact information with screenshot of me on the TV. They're like, we saw you on TV. And I'm like,
So funny.
thanks.
That is funny.
Next, I just saw the Instagram or Facebook. I was like, oh my God, Katy's on KUSI now. That's so wild.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be able to share on, because not everyone is watching. I mean, a couple 100,000 apparently, but.
Or if you got YouTube TV.
Yeah, if you got YouTube TV.
Good damn streaming.
So, yeah, I know. So I try to share
Is this going to be a consistent segment? Katy?
Every time I go, he says, hey, do you want to come back? And I'm like, I'm not going to say no. So as long as they need me.
Is it a consistent questions? Like, I mean, are they asking only about market stuff, or?
It varies. Like this last week when I went on, we kind of talked about how interest rates fluctuated and what economic factors influence mortgage rates. Sometimes it's, just what steps it takes to get pre-approved for a loan. inventory, what prices are doing. You know, after COVID, when interest rates dipped to that all-time low, it was wild. You know, it was a crazy market. And so, you know, sharing information, how it's transitioned a little bit, how we're in a more sustainable, healthier, more balanced market, and just kind of updates. You know, market always ebbs and flows. So, and from what I've gathered from, you know, the people at KUSI is people love to hear about San Diego real estate. They love to hear about what prices are doing, what's going on in the market. So it's a topic that people never really get sick of. So.
Okay, being on live TV, was there ever an instance that you had a question like, oh my God, I don't know how to answer that? Or
yeah, just this last week, it wasn't that I didn't know how to answer. I just totally blanked. He asked me what mistakes buyers were making in today's market. And I had in my head 4 things that I wanted to touch on, and I touched on 2, and I just couldn't remember those third, you know, taking advantage of loan assistant programs and seeking expert help. So I repeated the first 2, and I was like, God, I mean, I saved myself, but I knew I'm like, I messed that one up a little bit, but.
And then do you go back and rewatch? Do you find some, like, can you send me the clips and I go back and rewatch?
Yeah, so the producers are very sweet, and he'll send me the segment so I can go back and critique myself over and over. And
that's kind of cool just to hold on to, right? Like, you have that forever. You share your kids when they get older.
It is fun. I was actually just watching them last night to see, how many times have I been on, and what topics did we touch on, and where did I thrive, and where did I kind of buckle, and where can I improve?
Right.
So it's kind of fun. It's a challenge.
Yeah, like I hear you watch yourself on video without the sound, like you said, and then you listen to yourself without the video, and then you make little tweaks from what you like or you don't like.
Super good advice. Yeah. And that makes sense now going back, because I use my hands a lot. And then my voice sometimes, like, I feel like Peter and I have like that, just like that crackly, like I'm constantly trying to clear my throat.
Yeah, you can have some on right now. Speaking of Pete and you, I think we asked him when he was here, what is the dynamic of working with family?
Yeah, it's funny. They say, you know, don't ever mix business with family or friends. I'm like, 100%. That's literally all I do.
That's all you do. You've been doing it. Yeah, I was going to say, this guy, every time he's like, oh yeah, you know, my aunt, my mom, and then my brother. My wife, yeah, I'm like,
yeah. Oh. Honestly, there is such an element of, I like Pete. We get along well.
Yeah. He said different.
He's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah, don't watch his segment.
Yeah. No, he was very nice about you. He said some good things.
Oh, good. Okay, then I won't be too hard on him today. But
pull the mic.
I do, yeah. Can we edit that? No, I do like him. We get along. We have the same goals. We're motivated by a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So working together it's enjoyable for me. You know, I think there's certain areas that we also have different lifestyles.
Right.
You know, he's dad, I'm mom, so it's a little bit different in the sense that I still have duties outside of work, and so does he. It's just it's different being mom as opposed to dad.
Yeah.
So
because he's a more new dad. He's got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And our family's close. Cousins all hang out. You get together as much as you can.
Oh yeah. I mean, every Sunday we're together over at my parents' house, and there's I think 22 of us now, going on 24. So
yeah.
And that's just our family and the kids. So, but yeah, there's an element of trust too when you're working with family. I never doubt my brother. I never question my brother when he says, you know, I need something to be done this way. I trust it, you know, and it goes to show, I mean, he's a lot like my dad. I see that he has filled my dad's shoes, and he's taken what my dad has created and grown it into something so much greater, bigger. I don't want to say better. My dad definitely set the groundwork for
just
for
kept
the company,
growing the business and pushing it in the right direction.
He never settles. So I admire the fact that Pete is so passionate about growing and evolving constantly. So yeah, working together, I'm only inspired and motivated by the guy. And with 3 kids and 2, 3, 1 on the way.
Yeah.
So, and he's going to have 3 under 3. Did I?
I didn't know that.
Should I have not shared that?
Oh my God. Wait. Hold up.
Congratulations, Pete.
We could edit all this out if we need to, but I never knew that he was.
It's out there now.
It's out there. Okay.
They don't know what they're having, but pregnant with number 3.
Congrats, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do we know what it is?
They don't know.
Oh, they're not going to find out.
They're not going to find out. And my sister's pregnant too. and they're not finding out. Yeah. So
Are they due about the same time?
Andy's due in like 10 days.
Wow.
Maybe even less than that. I think her due date's the 25th.
Oh, wow.
And
You should
then
have your phone on you.
I know. And then Amanda is due early August.
Oh, so she's far along. I feel like I should have known this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
So
That's exciting.
we're
That's
really excited.
super exciting.
Yeah. So we're at different phases of our life too, you know.
And touching back on the working with family thing, you can also trust nobody better than your family, right? So if you're working with your family, you know that you've got their best interest and they've got your best interest. You're
Always.
both doing the same to get both of you the collective good to where you're supposed to go.
Always. There's never been a moment where I've felt shortchanged or anything like that. We work well together. We balance each other out, and we are at different phases in our life with kids. So he has such young kids right now, and like I want to be able to offer him that same flexibility with his family. I know it's a little bit different because Pete's much more involved in the company. He's managing several lanes. But my kids are a little bit older now and they're in school full time. So it's kind of freed up a little bit time for me to dip my feet and learn more about the other side of the business, the property management side that I haven't been as involved in. And working with family, you do trust the other person. And I'm not the only one that feels that way too. Every member of our team feels like Pete is family. They feel like that's dad looking out for us.
He's so genuine. One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
He is.
I love Pete.
He is. He's all right.
He's all right. He's okay.
Whatever, Pete. Yeah. No, but we asked him the same kind of question, and he had nothing but nice things to say about you as well. And he said that you work well together because you don't do the same thing, right? Like if he's doing that side, you're not pushing into it and like trying to get into his lane.
Yeah.
And you're doing your stuff, which is more of the marketing, social media and stuff like that he knows that he's you're way better at it than he is. So
it goes both ways. There, like the way that he's able to manage several lanes, I'm kind of focused on my one lane, but he's managing a whole team of employees. And so I couldn't do what he does. And I think that there's sometimes he doesn't have time to do the things that I do.
For sure.
So, and that helps our business. So yeah, I'm a little bit more active on social media and trying to promote the property management side of the business and, real estate in general. And he's working on, the logistics, growing the company, keeping our family, our team members happy.
Yeah.
So who got in first?
I think I started working with my dad first, and he worked with a different company initially, I think just to kind of get the training. Like when I jumped into working with my dad, it was kind of like
you're just there to help, support. And
help there and support. And there was no sort of like training. It was kind of like, Dad, how do I write an offer? Well, open up car and we figure it out, And I mean,
just fill those spaces in.
He was
just a dad thing.
Yeah, he was a little bit more hands-on, but it was kind of like, well, here you go. So there was pros and cons to that. I kind of had to learn and figure it out. And no two transactions are alike, so it's a good thing. But Pete started out, I think, with Berkshire Hathaway or Prudential, and got his started there. And then he moved to San Francisco for a period of time.
Yeah. And
then when he moved back, started working with ENG and just took off. And I think when he really took off was COVID. My dad kind of took a step back, and Pete sat in his chair and ran with it and has just done
taking the reins.
Phenomenal job. Yeah. My dad's really proud and very happy with where he's taken things.
That's so awesome.
Well, good. This podcast is not about Pete. Sorry, Pete. You had your time.
We're gonna
stop talking about you. Back to Katy. So
one more thing about Pete.
No, but we talked about it out there a little bit, the social media side. How did, and I'm going to tell you what right now, like as much as he's doing with that part, this in our industry is, I want to say, because I manage this space, the studio and stuff like that. And I see a lot of people who want space to do this because social media is so big right now.
Yeah, right? Oh, absolutely.
You have to stay in front of people.
There was, not only is it so big right now, but there was a period of time in my life where my kids were so young And the only avenue that I really had to put myself out there and reach other people was social media. So I wasn't doing the postcard things. I wasn't door knocking. I wasn't doing any of that farming. I was posting videos of houses that I was listing and family. And that was really my only way to reach people. Yeah. And it worked. I was starting, people are messaging me, oh, that house is great. Where is it? How much? Are you in the market? And that is truly kind of how that conversation started. And so my mom's looking to sell her house. And that was really the bread and butter of how I got started and how I was able to kind of put food on the table for my kids with social media. And so, it's so important today. And now I've just kind of gone with it because I saw how it worked. Yeah. And there was a time when someone was like, "You're a bit much."
That's a hater. No.
You're a bit much. That's a little bit too much. And I'm like, it might be, but if that is what brings someone to me and I can help them put a roof over their head, I can help them maximize their investment.
But they also let you know by them saying that you're there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're seeing you.
Yeah.
Well, and it might be too much for you, but it might be just enough for this person, or this person's looking for a little bit more.
I agree. There's always going to be feedback. There's always going to be criticism.
I didn't realize till this week, like how important, like even like reposting old stuff is. That's like just kind of evergreen. You can repost it later. Like I had an appointment with this one person and she posted earlier this week or last week. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought we were meeting today. You're in Vegas? She's like, no, that was last year. But I'm like, oh my God, that's important because she never reached me before, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Until we met. So then now you can go back and repost and you're going to reach a whole new group of people audience that never got to see those posts from
Or you might
before.
reach the same person, but now it might resonate a little differently. Yeah. Right? So timing is everything.
Definitely. And I think, with the whole KUSI or posting these podcasts and videos and stories in general, you have new followers or you're reaching new people. So it is kind of important to circle back or repost that video or, news segment or whatever it is, because it could resonate with someone differently the second time.
Or they forward along to one of their sphere that like, oh my God, did you see this?
Yeah.
And then it just gets passed around to people that you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad, he's so sweet. He's always like reposting my KUSI segments, which reaches a whole new audience, of his age and his network, which is great, And then I've got his colleagues reaching out to me and saying, hey, that was really good. We could use help down the line, whatever it is. So
it's all wild how social media has changed, right? We were just talking about when I first started, I thought it was just, I'm going to post and my family is going to see it or my real close friends are going to see it. And it wasn't anything for business. It was just sharing my personal life.
Right.
And now it's primarily used for business. You're trying to get it to as many people as possible.
I know when you really go back and like look at your early
old posts.
I know you almost have to it's because right now it's also your resume too, right? For, all these young people, it's like, hey, see, remember what you're posting now that if you're applying for a job later, then
like nothing more embarrassing than your Facebook like memories of their, because before it wasn't even photos. It was just like status updates, be like, I don't even know.
Well, we were about to get into something I could tell.
My sister-in-law, it was as if we were having a conversation with just each other. And it's like, it was almost just as if we were texting, but it was status updates. Wild times.
And you look back now, you're like, I would never do that now. Oh my God.
So I can only imagine what I'm going to be looking back, 10, 20 years from now.
Or where it's going to go, right? Where's social media going to be in 5 years?
Right,
or when our kids are at the age where they're now using it frequently.
Right.
What's the advice you would give a person that is in our industry, right? Like there's a lot of people that wanting to start. Like how did you get started? I know you mentioned something with Facebook and like just, is there like a little nugget out there like how they can get started, how to feel comfortable behind the camera and stuff like that?
Overcoming fear. And that's still something I still struggle with. It's not easy to be on live TV. It's not easy to put yourself out there, especially when you get advice from someone that says you're a bit much.
Then that's all you hear every time you do something like, is this a bit much?
But I think, when I first started out, I just let people know what I was doing, and now social media is so different that it's very easy to do. You can come in here, you can film a 60-second video of yourself, introduce yourself, what you do, and put it out there.
Right.
And ask people, you know, what do you have goals? What are your needs? What is an ideal market for you? You know, asking the right questions so that you can attract buyers, sellers, or whoever you need, but putting yourself out there.
And I think you touched on it, getting over that fear.
Yes.
Because a lot of people have fear of, they see that red blinking dot. Oh my God, I'm on camera. Like, you could be all ready to go and getting after it, and then you're on camera and all of a sudden everything changes.
And you are your worst critic. You know, there's been several times where I've done the KUSI thing, and I've had people reach out to me and say, "Oh, we saw you on the news," and I'm like, "Oh, I botched that one
I
question."
wish you didn't see me.
And they were like, "What?" Like, no, you didn't. You know, so you definitely are your worst critic. And so I've realized, okay, even if you do mess up, that makes you more relatable.
You're human.
People are
We all
like,
mess up.
Okay, she drew a blank. So you're relatable. But yeah, overcoming that fear, reaching out to people that you know in your sphere and letting them know. You know, back when I started, it was a time where people were just in my age group, you know, my friends were just starting to buy, just starting to look. So that was an easy target for me. Like, and showing people, you know, we bought our first home in 2013, and we sold 2 or 3 years later and bought again. So that experience, sharing that experience with other people, sharing the benefits, sharing the hardships, just making yourself relatable and letting people know what you do and offering a service to people. At the end of the day, we're just trying to help each other.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the critics.
Yeah,
don't listen to those guys.
Those are the
Be
best.
a bit much.
Yeah.
Be as much as you want to be.
Well, you started on Facebook. You said that you were. Tell me how. That again. That you.
Yeah.
Were,
So when I first started working with my dad, I went into his office. I was going in there like 3 days a week, helping out with the property management stuff, putting together leases, showings, and I had my license. So in my spare time, I literally printed out all of my Facebook friends. So every person, you can see their name and their little profile picture. And I printed out every single friend that I had. And then I went through and I messaged them personally. Hey, I just want to let you know, I just had Michael. We just bought our first home. I actually have my license. I'm following my dad's footsteps. If there's anything that I can do, I've learned from the best. Please reach out. And I messaged them. Highlighted their name. Okay, message
Text
them.
message,
Next
DM,
person.
or
just a DM.
DM.
Yeah. So, and then I just did that. Went through every single person. And what's funny is, like, even now going back, there's someone I hadn't been in touch with for years, and maybe I want to message them. I'm like, oh my God, there's my message from 2013.
Still just sitting there.
Yeah, still sitting there. But yeah, and some of those messages came to be clients. You know, a lot of friends from high school.
Yeah.
Those are your first friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I represented quite a few friends of mine from high school those first few years, and helping them get into their first home, and now second. So,
well, they're all warm leads right there, right?
Yeah.
Your friends.
Yeah. They know you.
They know you. You're
Yeah.
gonna feel comfortable. It's not gonna be weird putting that out there or
Yep.
anything like that.
Yeah. So that was how I started.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great. I love looking back at your social media and seeing, like, I think it's great because you're showing your life, your family, and one that just resonated with me. Like, you weren't scared to put it out there. You had, you know, your husband had an illness.
Yes.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And that's just like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, we have this big picture for 2025, and this is going to be the best year.
Yeah.
And we had a great New Year's Eve. And Kate, my youngest, her birthday is on January 3rd. We spent the week skiing in Big Bear, and my husband was experiencing some chest pain, which has been something he had experienced, you know, maybe once or twice a year for the past 4 or 5 years.
Because he's a healthy guy overall.
Super healthy.
He's a lifeguard.
He's a
right?
lifeguard.
he
Yeah,
just takes
super
care of himself.
active.
Yeah.
Surfs. Just a healthy human being altogether. So he was experiencing this pain and discomfort in his chest, and it got so bad to the point where we rushed him to the emergency room, and after several visits, come to find out, yeah, it is.
Oh my God.
A few visits, come to find out he had reoccurring pericarditis, which is inflammation of the heart.
Yeah.
And this particular time, his heart was so inflamed that the sac surrounding his heart was filling up with fluid. And he had to undergo an emergency procedure to drain that fluid. Because a fluid, it's like, imagine your heart sitting in a water balloon. And the more and more it fills, the more and more it's squeezing your heart. And so they did this procedure, and typically that's all that needs to be done. You go on anti-inflammatory medication after that, and you're good. But the anti-inflammatory medication that he was prescribed, he was like the 1 out of 10 that wasn't taking to it. So after another trip to the ER, they finally figured that out. And so they've got him on the right path.
Was all that in one day? You went to the ER?
Oh gosh, no. It was kind of a few different visits. But when he had to get the procedure, we were in the ER. He had the procedure done that night, and then he was in the hospital. And we were there on a Thursday. He was discharged on Sunday. And then he was home for a week, and then that pain was coming back. And the next time he went, we were like, you're not leaving until you are pain free.
Yeah, right.
And so that we come to find out that medication wasn't working. They tried a new medication. That medication worked, but they wanted to make sure. So they had him stay, that was about 6 days. They did, blood work every day to make sure that his body was taking to it. His inflammatory markers were down, and all of that checked out. So,
and how are all the kids doing at this point? Are they?
Well, thank God we have a village. I mean, I have to say, I'm one of 4. We all live in San Diego, and we belong to a school. Our community is just, I can't speak highly enough. I mean, there was no, people were coming home doing laundry at my house. My mom would take the kids. There was no shortage of meals delivered. So the kids were all not only well taken care of, but I think at one point my youngest was like, can dad go? Does dad need to go to the hospital again? Because can I spend the night at Bella and Isla's house? I'm like, you guys. So
he doesn't need to be at the hospital to make that happen.
Yeah, our village is amazing. So there was no shortage of love, support, meals. They even went as far as like cleaning my house when we came home.
That's huge though, because that's so scary. That's like your life source. I mean, like I said, I look at your Instagram and I see how much love that you have for this man.
Yeah.
And you guys have for your family and your kids. And then the heart is something not to mess around with. Like, did anything pop in your head? Like during that time that you're
so much popped in my head. One, he's our rock. Like he's so strong. He's our comfort. He's the safe place guy for us. So to see him hurt and vulnerable, it was like, whoa, wait, this can't happen.
Yeah.
And then, when I started to get stressed out, he's like, you can't go down too. Like we both have to be strong. So, it was.
How could you not stress out?
It was definitely scary, but I'm so used to seeing him in a different light. I'm tough, I'm like, you're fine. It's this.
Wipe the dirt off.
I think that's all wives.
I felt really bad. I was like, oh gosh, it's not just indigestion. This is something worse. So for him to be in that amount of pain, that was really hard to see. And the fact that he really, really stuck it out. I mean, he tried to do whatever he could to help himself feel better. So I'm just so happy to see him back at work and thriving and surfing. And he's always taking great care of himself, but he's next level. So, he's a great inspiration for our family. He's someone that my kids look up to. My son is like, what are you eating, Dad? Or, oh, you're surfing? You're cold plunging? I'm going to do that. So he sets a great example for our family.
And so is this an ongoing thing? Is it behind us? Or
I sure hope it's behind us. I think that the pain is gone and the inflammation is gone. We don't want it to come back. So it's really just monitoring at this point. It's not super common. So it's more of a, how do you feel? How does your blood work look? And so far everything is checking out great. And physically he's running and he's
Stay
getting
away
his
from
heart
those
rate.
foods that give you heartburn. You don't want any more scares.
Yeah, I know, right? So, but yeah, he's living life. But yeah, that was a scary time for us. And
well, it's good to know that you have that village behind you if anything happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We've leaned on our village many a times, and I hope to be that for our community, in times of need. So it's a great team.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're lucky.
Speaking of the village, how do you mean, I find it hard balancing with 3 kids, work and life, because me and my wife, we both work. How do you balance? Or is there any advice you can give?
What's your day to day with like 4 kids? They play sports too, right? And like everything,
busy.
You know, nothing teaches you time management like having 4 kids. You have small pockets of window opportunities where you can get stuff done, and you get them done.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it means getting up earlier. Sometimes it means staying up later. But yeah, work hard. And then at 3:00, you kind of have to shut it off for a little bit to help take care of sports and driving and this and that. But they're at a little bit of a different age now where that's more manageable, you know, so they're doing homework and I can kind of answer some emails here and there. So the work-life balance is always a challenge. And the market itself is one that ebbs and flows. There's times where I'm crazy busy and my husband's like, have you looked up from your phone today? And then there's times where I'm free. I can watch you play soccer.
Right.
So taking advantage of those times, and also, you know, getting up early and yeah, it's a lot, but
I was gonna say, does the family help you kind of move forward even through those tough days that you have? In this industry?
They're my biggest motivation.
Yeah.
They are why I do what I do. You know, sometimes they're upset, Mom, why are you always on the phone or your computer? And I'm like, I'm doing this for you guys so that we can go to Big Bear, so that we can spend time together as a family and we can have family meals.
So you can be in all those sports that you love doing so much.
Yeah, but I don't think they understand that.
No.
They
that
don't.
costs money.
And I didn't understand it until I became a mom.
Yeah.
Like the sacrifice that my parents made to put us in junior guards and travel soccer.
Yeah, and drive you there.
And drive.
Our mentalities change so much the moment we become fathers or mothers. We're like, Mom and Dad, thank you so much. And I apologize for so much I've done to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's an every week thing. Like, remember that one time I
Of course I remember.
Of course I do.
Yeah. So yeah, the work-life balance is, it's something that's ever evolving and I'm always working on, but they are my biggest motivation. And you do learn when you have a busy schedule, structure is so important. My husband is never really understood my routine and my to-do lists. And
well, he didn't know that when he was a lifeguard. That's why he needed you to come in his life.
Yeah.
That was the holy grail right there. You walking up and saying, "Can I help you?" He's like, "Yes."
we totally
I
joke.
needed you.
We always say we're the non-planned couple. Like, he's kind of like, we don't need to plan, but I'm actually always
secretly being like,
planning.
Yeah. We're not
Even when
planning.
He thinks everything's off the cuff, but back at the scene, you're like, nope, check.
He's like, if we got tattoos, what they be? I'm like, non-plan, plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember when we were dating and his parents invited us over for Sunday dinner. They live up in Oceanside. And I'm like, well, what time do we need to be there? What time do they want? Oh, whatever. And I'm like,
I think that's a guy thing because I'm the same exact.
no, like if they are expecting us at a certain time, that means we have to leave by 2. That means I have to have the salad that I'm making prepared by 1. So
it takes one kid this long to get long. It takes this kid. Wait till your girls get older too. I mean, it's a lot tougher.
Well, even with kids, you know, I remember when I had Michael, it literally took me an hour to get out of the house, and I knew that. So I had to prepare a good hour earlier, bags, you know, diaper bag and food and whatnot. And so I think kids have taught me that structure and routine is the most important thing, and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
When life isn't crazy and busy,
Embrace those moments.
Embrace those moments. Yeah. You know, go for the walk at night and
just know that it's a short amount of time also that
it is.
We're going to be experiencing all this craziness.
It really is.
So just embrace it.
I know. Matt said something today. He's like, we only have so many summers left with Michael before
I hate
he's
when people
just
say
off.
it like
I'm
that.
like,
Yeah.
I know.
It's true. I have a 14-year-old, and I think about it. I'm like,
right.
2 years until she's 16. I'm like, once she gets a car, she's gone.
And you say you have 4 summers, right? Until she's 18.
Yeah, and then 18, she for sure gonna be gone. Like
Yeah.
she's not sticking around. She wants to explore the world. So,
Gosh.
yeah,
I
it's
know.
blink of an eye.
She's a talented one too. That
Yeah,
She is quite the talent.
she's getting there.
yeah.
Yeah, I let her do her thing. I
Little performer.
talk about structure. I'm such a like OCD person, and my wife at the beginning, we would watch Ellis paint very early on and do her thing, and here comes Dad. That's like, because I learned from my dad, right? Like everything had a balance, angles, like Just everything had to look perfect.
Yeah.
And I'd go up there and I'd be like, well, what if you did? And my wife would slap my hand.
Yeah.
Be like, let her do it.
Yes.
Let her figure it out. She's going to be creative. Yeah. Right. I feel like we try to do that in life too. And some, you can't. And I'm learning this at an older age. And I wish I would have learned sooner that life throws stuff at you. You can't always paint in the lines.
Yes.
You know?
I think having multiple kids too, even if it's two, is, with your first, you have these expectations.
Yeah.
This is the way it's supposed to be because this is the way that I was brought up. And then by the time the second or third roll around, you're like, you can color out of the lines. Like, I'm done with these book reports. And how, I'm like, whatever it looks like, you kind of let go. And it's good for them. It's good for them to, feel proud about something that they've done on their own, their way, and they get the grade that they deserve.
Right. Yeah, given that creative flexibility, the creative freedom, and just do.
Go with it.
Just do it.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, congratulations to all your success.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I got some quick questions here. ChatGPT helped me out.
Ooh.
So these ones might be harder than you think.
Uh-oh. Glad I'm not in the hot seat.
Just some fun ones, I mean, we'll see.
Okay.
All right. Quick round. Favorite beach, favorite family activity, and a go-to coffee order.
Oh, okay. Favorite beach, South Mission, just tried and true.
Really?
I just have so many good memories there.
Even during the summer?
Even, I know, I do. Wind and Sea and Marine Street are obviously just so beautiful and you feel like you're on vacation there. But South Mission, there's just something nostalgic about it. It's just, I think because my husband and I, we were dating and we would hang out at South Mission. It's just,
just all the feels that come with it.
That's all the feels. Favorite thing to do as a family, skiing. My in-laws have a cabin in Big Bear and we've had the privilege of visiting a few times. And it's the one activity that everyone in our family can do on their own that we all enjoy.
That's so cool.
And it's just so fun. And it's insane to see my kids just speed demons down the mountain.
So your little 5-year-old's on skis and she's cruising.
She's crushing it. She's
awesome.
Incredible. Like I said earlier, she's a combination of all my kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, even my more reserved Michael, he V-lines it. So that's my
like
favorite.
I said, something you could all do together, which I love. So I got to experience that for the first time this winter.
Yeah.
With my oldest.
Yeah.
We're snowboarding in Mammoth together.
Oh, it's
I'm
the best.
following down. I'm like, oh my God. I'm on the mountain with my boy.
It's the best.
And it's such a cool feeling.
It is. It is. Surfing's great too, but I'm kind of a wimp when it comes to cold water. And there's just a lot that goes into it. I don't know. The same could be said for skiing, skis
But
and
you're all
equipment
bundled
and
up,
stuff.
you feel good.
But yeah, it's just, there's a lot that goes into it with surfing. And I'm not very good. And skiing is just something that we're all like, yeah, we got this.
Yes.
And my go-to coffee order, skinny vanilla latte.
Nice. Any specific place?
I'm Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
I'm easy. Yeah.
Have you tried the lavender matcha from Starbucks?
I have not, but now that you say
new
a
fave.
place, Bay Park Coffee has this, it's a pistachio vanilla latte. Really good. I wouldn't say it's
Pistachio,
my
I love
go-to
pistachio,
every
yeah.
time, but it was really, really good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Pistachio. I just got, speaking of pistachio, some little cinnamon pistachios
Ooh.
for the kids. So good. Oh my
Ooh.
gosh. Those, the wonderful, they're in the bag.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Dang.
Cinnamon flavor.
Why didn't you bring them to me?
I should have.
Cinnamon.
Tomorrow.
Okay, good. Okay, then what's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm pretty out there. There's not much
I
of
know.
a surprise with
Especially after
me.
this podcast.
Yeah.
You've got a 6th toe.
Do you? Web feet?
I brought it out of the bag.
Wait, do you?
Show it.
No,
she
I-
doesn't. You know.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
I don't have a 6th toe. However, my daughter might kill me for saying this, but she's little. She'll never see this.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Kate was born with a 6th little finger. It was like this.
No way.
My wife's dad was too. An extra thumb.
What?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh.
They removed it, but
Oh.
it,
Yeah, they removed it at a young
it
age.
had like,
Did you keep it?
Oh.
That's
some people do. Matt was
Kate,
like,
look at
yeah, some people do.
birthday toe, bring it over.
Like the
Bring out the birthday toe.
What's the umbilical cord thing? Some people say that. I'm like, no, I don't.
We almost did. Oh, did we? We almost did.
I'm trying to think something that would surprise people about me.
We can come back to that if you think of it.
Let me think about that one. That is a
tough one. I'm trying to even think what I could say for that one.
I think something that would. I'm second child in my family, and if you would ask my siblings, I think they would say that I'm kind of the more like just kind of adventurous. I'm outgoing, but I would never ever skydive. I would never. All of my siblings have, but that's the one
That's the one thing.
Yeah, I'm like I would.
Because there's no control. You have zero control.
Zero control, and I'm a risky person. I'm like, yeah, let's go have fun. And that's just not going to do that.
That's a good one.
And I'm not going to bungee jump. And
I feel like I'd skydive before I bungee jumped.
Same, but I would do neither as well.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't know. Maybe that does or doesn't surprise people, but that's kind of something. I think I have like the reputation of being like the outgoing, wild,
you do it all,
second child.
Yeah.
But no, I would not. That is a risk that I am not willing to take.
Good for you. Don't risk it,
people. You got a family. You got to keep those risks to a minimum.
Even before then, I just couldn't do it.
Okay, if you were not in real estate, what would you be doing instead?
Oh, that's a good question. And actually, I was at lunch with a girlfriend the other day when we were playing MASH with some kids. You know MASH, where you
I know the TV show.
MASH, where you can live in a mansion, apartment, shack, or house, and then you name 4 boys you would marry, 4 different numbers. That's the number of kids.
I remember that from back in school.
And 4 jobs. And so the kids were like making up fun. You pick one, and then they pick the others. And so the one that I picked was interior design.
Okay.
I love houses, and growing up, I was always rearranging the furniture in my room, and I always liked to change the color of paint, and always enjoyed going to open houses and looking at the way other people live. So interior design would be a job that I would love to get involved in.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
You can roll right into it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it tomorrow.
Okay. Why not?
We can redesign this room.
Please help me. Okay, what's your personal real estate motto or life mantra?
Life mantra, it's cool to be kind. That's our mantra this year. Every year my kids and I we come up with like a mantra for the school year. But honestly, it kindness. Be kind.
Be kind.
One of the first lessons that my dad taught me in real estate, it's funny, what's the most important thing in real estate? And everyone will say location, location, location.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget sitting down with him and some clients, and they go, what did your dad teach you is the most important thing in real estate? I bet, and they're waiting for me to answer. And I'm like, honesty. And they were like, oh, we were expecting you to say location, location. And I'm like, no, that was the one thing that my dad said, be honest, be true. Some of the most difficult and important transactions or relationships that I've had with people is guiding them not to purchase something or, so just honesty, being very honest and treating people the way you want to be treated, kindness.
Yeah.
People might not remember what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them.
Yes. And working in property management and real estate, selling and buying, that tends to be the prettier side of the business. When you're interacting with owners and tenants, it's a lot of wants and needs and expectations, and, rightfully so. And so treating everyone with kindness, and it goes such a long way. Even if you can't meet their expectations right at that time, or I had a tenant whose the electricity went out the other day, and he was calling me, so sorry, please go walk down the street to Barbusa and have a cocktail on me. We'll get this up and running. We'll get our vendor. And it's just that kind of response and communication that makes them grateful. And that's not the end of the world,
right?
Whereas, not having electricity is kind of a big thing when you're moving in to a property. So treating people with kindness and it's got to be tough because in the property management side, you're not getting phone calls from tenants or owners
for positive things more likely, right?
It is. It is. You don't get to tell people, guess what? You closed on a house or your offer's accepted. It's
my water heater's leaking or my power's out or
What does the switch go to?
Or the tenant didn't pay their rent on time. And, it is. You're the middle person and you're constantly kind of putting out fires. But we have such a beautiful team that's been with us for some time that they've kind of paved the way for me and customer service and the way you speak to people. Everyone deserves to be treated and communicated with kindness. So it goes such a long way.
That's such a good one.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. What does home mean to you?
Home is family. Home is whether it's a Sunday dinner over at my parents' house and the kids are shooting on each other with the soccer, jumping in the pool. It's being with family.
Yeah.
That's home to me. And family doesn't necessarily have to be blood too. That, like I mentioned, the Madeline community, we have such a tight-knit group of friends, and that's home too. It's a safe place. We've got, between our crew, there's probably like 25 kids, and it's amazing. They learn something. They're motivated by each other. There's friendships. They open up to each other. They're inspired by one another to maybe take that guitar class or art class or join the soccer team. So, home is family and community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. All right. I do have one last question because I always got to ask this question. What's next? What's next?
Next. Well,
for the Sullivan family, for the ENG Properties, for your work, what's brewing? What's next?
What's brewing? I think what's next for ENG Properties is continued growth. I want to be able to help my brother out so that he can kind of focus more on family and free up a little bit more time. But I want to see the company grow. I want to be able to build more accounts. A lot of people go, oh, you just sell and buy houses, but ENG Properties is so much more than that. So I want to continue to see us grow. The other thing too is the kind of going back to Pete. We're always talking about Pete, but
sneaking back in
his dedication to growth, but also not making it feel like we are this huge management company. We still feel very boutique.
Still
you still get someone
feeling
on the phone. Yeah. You still like, hey, your dad's still around. Like, what's he up to? There's still that sense of it being a mom and pop company, despite the fact that it's tripled in size.
How many doors are you guys managing now? Do you know?
About 1,200, a little over 1,200.
Wow.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that. You always get someone on the phone. Pete's always available. I'm always available. So, continuing to grow. Oops, did I do that?
Okay.
Yeah. Continuing to grow, but also maintaining that family boutique feel.
Yeah.
And then what's next for our family?
Number 5. Nope, that's an odd number.
Nope, that'd be 5 and 6.
No, being present. Time flies. And I really do, especially with everything that's gone on with Matt this year. I had him home for a long time, and it was like a really sad day when he went back to work. And I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be that way. We can still feel like dad's home. We can still take advantage of family dinners and family walks and visit the beach randomly on a Tuesday. And I want to embrace more of that spontaneity and taking advantage of that time. Despite the fact that we have 6 soccer practices, 2 basketball, even then there's still time to embrace one walk around the block. And that time is so important to our kids and us. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of like talk about the day, maybe share concerns and whatnot. So I want to embrace more of that and
just live with intention and purpose, and every day make it meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's just going to blend into the next one.
And I think that was my New Year's resolution was live with intention, be meaningful, make everything meaningful. And everything was so rocked with Matt that it was kind of a good reminder that actually this is exactly what we're doing.
And break up the routine, because we get, especially with families, right? We get in this routine that every day X, Y, and Z, you're checking these boxes.
That's how,
And then it just, like I said, blends in to the day before and the next day. You wake up like, oh my God, it's already been a year.
Yeah.
But if you live with intention and every day with a purpose,
yes,
you'll not take for granted those small moments that you could have.
Absolutely. And sometimes it takes a very routine, structured person and someone who is not to kind of come together to take advantage of those, you know, spontaneous moments and enjoy it and break me from that routine. But also having some sort of routine and structure, and it alleviates a lot of stress and anxiety because kids have expectations and they know, they like to know what's happening next. So there's that too. That's a long-winded answer.
No, that's great. We love that. I love that. Well, thank you again. Thanks for taking the time and spending with us today.
Thank you.
Brandon, thank you as always.
Thank you.
I don't know who wants to go first, but I want you to look into the camera and let people know where they can find you. Actually, our guest will be first. Katie, let people know where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Katy, what's that?
Underscore?
M_Sully. Otherwise, I'm at ENGproperties.com. That's our website. You can call me.
Yeah.
619-994-5802. If you just want to hang out, kid play date, if you have any real estate needs, property management needs.
Be careful.
I'm a very approachable
what you ask
person.
for.
Yeah, I'm around.
That's awesome. Brandon, you want to look at the app?
Yeah, you could find me. I'm here at New Venture pretty much all the time. On socials, Brandon Wood, NVE, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Phone number, 619-672-4356. Give me a call.
All right. Well, thank you both again for being here. You guys can find the What's Next podcast, this episode, on YouTube for the full video, across a lot of the streaming platforms as well, Instagram. So, you know, come and find us, like us, subscribe, do it all. All right. Till next time, guys. Thanks.